Daniel and I are here. Say hi.
What's up?
And we're at the Little Theater.
I'm really excited to introduce Mr. Larry Gatlin.
That's it?
That's it. That's it.
Have you ever been on the Tonight Show or sung at Carnegie Hall?
No,
I have. Don't you think you should said a little something about that?
I understand.
That's the worst introduction I've ever had. You see that?
No.
Paint the barn.
Paint the
What?
barn?
Paint the barn.
Paint the barn.
We're painting the barn. Cool.
That's why we're here. Y'all thought you were going to learn how to write a story and all we're going to do is paint the barn.
I like barns and paint.
In 1930, a curmudgeonly, cranky, crusty, cantankerous old coot. And what device was I using right then?
Alliteration?
Thank you. If I have any questions, I'm asking you. Old coot. The name of Sinclair Lewis won the Nobel Prize for Literature. He was the first American to ever win it. Well, about 2 months after that, he was asked by the dean of the Harvard Creative Writing class to come and give a talk to the creative writing class. So she introduced this curmudgeonly, cranky, crusty old coot, and he promptly walked up behind the desk, anyway, and said, "So you all want to be writers?" To which they answered,
Yes.
to which he said,
Why?
"Well, if you want to be writers, why the blank aren't you home writing?" And he left. So, you all want to be writers?
Let's go home.
See you later. I have a fun feeling you are writers. How many people we have here want to be songwriters? Okay. How many people have here want to be novelists? How many want to be short story writers? How many of you just want to pass English? I get it. It was either Plato or Socrates or Johnny Cash who said, I think it was Johnny Cash. He said, "Take me not to those who write your laws, for they will lie. Take me instead to those who write your songs, for they will not." Actually, I made that up. Most of the things I tell you up here are very true. But, songwriters, writers period, they write the truth. Now, they write the truth as they see it. Right? So that's kind of a catch. One thing I would write up here if I could, George Abbott. Anybody know who George Abbott is? George Abbott is one of the most famous book writers for Broadway musicals. Someone writes the book. They'll take a big novel, like Les Miserables, Victor Hugo, 1400s. What did I say wrong? Oh.
And she's not coming back.
It's Sinclair Lewis. When you see a Broadway musical, like y'all know the great musical Les Miserables, right? Okay, or Phantom of the Opera. Les Miserables was originally a novel by Victor Hugo, 1,400-something pages long. Well, when you're going to do a 2-hour musical, you can't do 1,400 pages. It's impossible, right? You can't put the whole French Revolution on the Broadway stage. So you get a librettist, someone to write the small book. So that's what Mr. George Abbott was. He was a book writer. He was also a famous director. He directed his last musical at 94 and died at 104. And he was an expert. He was great at what he did. He was great at his craft. Let me tell you what he did. He got up every morning to shave his face.
Try the black one.
Try the black one. Okay, beautiful. And when he went in to shave, on his shaving mirror, he had these words. Nope, that ain't working either. Yeah, that's better. What story are you trying to tell? Comment, George. Y'all are laughing at my handwriting. Huh? It's awful, isn't it? Looks like a doctor. Take 2 4 times a day, keep your feet up, call me Monday. That'd be $800. Right? What story are you trying to tell? So, I think that's very important to know what kind of story, not just what kind of story, but what story you're trying to tell, period. How many of you brought something today, a song, or an editorial, or a poem, or an essay, or the start of a novel? Who brought something for us to look at? One? God love you, sweetheart. What story are you trying to tell? I mean, right now. Write one. Write something. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. I can use ain't if I want to. I'm an English major. I ain't kidding. Get to it. I can stand up here, and so can your teachers and your professors, and thank God for them. We can stand up here till hell freezes over trying to teach you something. But if you don't take it upon yourself to absorb that and learn that and try to do something on your own, it's never going to work. Okay, they can pour facts and figures into you, or anyway, you know what I mean? So, learning is experiential. You see what I'm saying? You have to do it. So, did anybody write anything while Uncle Larry was gone?
Yeah.
You did? No? What'd you write? Oh, first of all, make sure that you wrote something down that you can share with the rest of us because you may be asked. Yes, sir.
Well, in response to what she says, life is full of surprises and adjustments. Get the two together.
Life is full of surprises and adjustments. Get the two together. I've never heard it said like that. I never have. Now, I've been to 2 hog callings and a taffy pull, and I've never heard it said. What's your name, sir?
James Bearden.
Give James a hand.
Yeah.
This young lady in the purple dress. Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
Rose.
Hi, Rose. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
You
A
brought
little bit
something
of-
today?
Yeah.
What'd you
A little
bring?
bit of- it's the beginning of a novel that I started
It's the
writing.
beginning of a novel.
Yes, sir.
She's a novelist. You're already one. And if you say it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I'm leaving.
Once upon a time.
I got it.
Very nice.
You know what I was going to tell? I was going to stop you. After the first 3 or 4, I was going to stop you. And I bit my tongue. I was going to say, honey, that is so cliche. Don't do that. But then you just put the sword right in Grandpa's ribs. Yeah, I know a lot of stories start that way, but I did. That's great. That's wonderful. May I help you with some grammar?
Yeah, of course.
That is the guitar that is sitting on that table. You are the person who is sitting in that chair.
Okay.
Okay? I'm sorry, Ann Louise Jones taught me how to do it, and I ain't going to cut you any slack, okay?
right.
That is something I can teach you, the difference between that and who. An inanimate object, that is the guitar. That is, wouldn't it be terrible? That's the guitar who's sitting over there. No, it's not. That's the guitar. This is the young lady who is sitting in. That's wonderful. Wonderful. It was a hook. So's alliteration, by the way. Right? It's a hook. It's to get somebody's ear. One of my favorite alliteration. Anybody who, y'all are too young to know who Chris Christopherson was.
Oh, no.
All right, I think he's the greatest songwriter in the history of the English language. See him wasted on the sidewalk in his jacket and his jeans, wearing yesterday's misfortune like a smile. Holy crap. All of those words are in the dictionary. He just happened to know what order they came in. I didn't. Unbelievable. The bridge, the chorus part says, he's a preacher, he's a pauper, he's a prophet, he's a poet, he's a pusher, and a problem when he's stoned. He's a walking contradiction, partly truth and partly fiction, taking every wrong direction on his lonely way back home. All those words are in the dictionary, kids. He just happened to find out what order they came in, and he did it very well. He's a pauper, he's a poet, he's a prophet, he's a preacher, right? You have to listen to the rest of that, right? It's a hook. You use the hook. Great. All right.
The garden wall.
That's beautiful. I know a fellow who said, the heart is a funny thing with a mind all its own. That's good, isn't it? It withers like a garden left untended and alone. And the thorns of loneliness invade and destroy what they can't steal. So easy to hurt, but oh so hard to heal. It's a garden song. Right? About the wall and I wrote that. Let me give you a little tip. Okay? 2, maybe 3 times in your book. The meter is great. The rhymes are fine. First of all, we know that poems don't have to rhyme. I happen to like poetry that rhymes. Myself. I mean, I do. Because it lends itself to songwriting. Better than some. I think twice, maybe 3 times in your poem, you used the word so. Would you look there and circle those 2 times for me, please?
Yeah, so tall and so strong.
Or is that the only 2 times?
Yes.
Okay. If I were to give you homework, I would say figure out a way not to use those 2 words right there, because all they were was filler to get your meter to meter out. It's cliche, it's trite. It's a beautiful thought. The language, he used the language, flawed, come down from the wall. That's beautiful. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. No, that's wrong. That sounds like I'm making fun of you. I'm not. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. So tall. So flawed. So, okay? Okay? You still like me? I really don't care. I got a real nice house. Whether you like me or not. I'm just kidding. You work on it? Give him another hand. That's really good. First of all, these words are your wares. They're as if you were a pot and pan salesman and you're trying to sell pots and pans out of your car. You park your car, you open up the trunk, and you bring out your pots and pans and you sell them to someone. It's not, well, I got this pot, you want it? No. Man, have you ever seen a pot like this? Isn't that a beautiful pot?
I have never seen a pot like that.
Those are your pots and pans. Sell. I wasn't counting on you being here. Those are your football fans. What are the Baltimore football team? What are they?
Ravens.
Why?
Edgar Allan Poe.
There you go, Edgar Allan Poe. The words are put beautifully together. I don't know if it's a poem. Is that one of his poems, A Masquerade? Tell me to what you are referring, because look, the words are beautiful together. Don't they sound just coming out of her mouth? They sound beautiful. Now, what story are you trying to tell?
There's several
Poe stories all wound up in that one. All right. If your pots and pans only work for you, then you might as well stay home and cook in your own kitchen, right? If you want to sell them to the rest of us, we have to know a little bit. Now, are you an English major? Are you an English professor? Well, then maybe you should be. That's damn good. Give her a nice hand. That's very good. Someone else. How long do we have? What's?
however long you want, sir.
Oh dear.
Did y'all see the respect from Madam President, sir? What did y'all write while I was gone? Did anybody write something
Yes.
while Uncle Larry was gone? Yes, sir. What did you write while I was gone? Are you making a video of this? Well, why are you taking pictures of my boots? Get it up here. We're all trying to go viral, pal. That doesn't mean exactly what it used to. Yes, sir.
The rabbit was very angry, that was apparent. His fur crackled with electricity as he gazed out the glass of his prison, gnawing at his carrot with fury as he thought of the horrendous things to do to the dreadful freckle-faced Girl Scout that stood eyeing him with contempt. Eleanor Ray was the most vile of any Girl Scout in Mayford County. She wasn't above causing accident for her fellow scouts, just as poor Victoria Majors, who was still in a leg brace because that roller skate just happened to be at the door to the girls' room. Eleanor took no blame and why should she? Victoria was just a clumsy girl who never watched out for roller skates. Eleanor never saw the moving van, and at the vacant house across the street from her modest farmhouse, a little girl named Becky Pardon was about to give Eleanor a run for money. Would Eleanor survive?
I can't wait to hear that. She's terrible. Do you happen to have a little sister?
Only child.
I just really probably figured that was her. From that, can anybody put that story down until they finish it? It's great. It's going to be a short story. Is that part that started?
Well, actually, I just got the idea and I'm going to use it. So, this girl's good.
When did you write that?
Just a few seconds.
When you
a
walked
few.
When I
out.
walked out?
Yeah.
Come up here and get the chalk, pal. If you want to be a great writer, you must read. You must read. I was in a little class like this a couple of months ago, and the young man said, "So you want to be a writer?" I said, "Yeah, I want to write a novel." Really? What's the last novel you read? Well, I've never read one. When they brought me two, I said, "You want to be a novelist and you've never read one? That's like saying you want to be a fireman, But you don't want to be awakened late at night by loud noises. You don't want to have to slide down a pole, and you don't like black and white dogs, and you really don't like fire. That's ridiculous. If you want to write, read. Read. Read stuff you don't want to read. Are y'all doing Of Mice and Men? When is the drama professor or one of y'all?
In it.
Tech director.
Huh? You're tech director?
And there's the assistant director.
That's wonderful. Who wrote it?
Steinbeck.
Thank you. I was in a car. Enough about y'all. Let's talk about me. I was in a traffic jam, 1979, at the Hollywood Bowl, and I was going out to Burbank. I was between record meetings, 2 different record executives. I got stopped in this traffic jam, and it was a bad one, as only you can have in LA. So while I was in the traffic jam, I noticed right in front of me was a 1958 Mercury station wagon with Oklahoma license plates. In the station wagon, there was furniture of all kinds, old suitcases, pots and pans, a bunch of skinny kids. What picture did it conjure up to Larry Wayne Gatlin, who had read John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath in high school because Anne Louise Jones told me I was going to read and made me do that. And in Anne Louise Jones' senior English class, you could make 100 on every paper. You could make 100 on term of theme, every pop test. You could make 100 on all of that. And if you wanted to make an A in Miss Anne Louise Jones' senior English class, you could recite, not read, recite the first 24 lines of the Canterbury Tales prologue in Old English from memory. One that the prelude with the shooter showed that the drafted march had passed to the road and bothered every. I made an A. Okay? Yeah. Back to Anne Louise Jones. We read Grapes of Wrath. Okay? Where did you get that? Grapes of Wrath was from, what's her name, Janice? Juliet Ward Howe wrote, "Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored." Thank you. Okay, so I read that. I'd read it probably 20 years earlier. This was 1980. I graduated from high school 66. 14 years earlier, I had read Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. So, when I saw the 58 Mercury station wagon, and by the way, the term okie is a very pejorative, bad, derogatory term in some people's minds and in their lexicon, if you will, in their verbiage. That beautiful woman I've been married to 42 years is an okie. So it ain't got no bad connotations in my mind, double negative, and ain't in the same sentence. Oh my God. So okie doesn't mean, I said to myself, well actually I said it out loud because I talk to myself a lot. If you really want to be a great writer, go ahead and don't worry about talking to yourself. It's fine. I said,
Thank God.
Okies have come out here from Oklahoma, and they think they're going to find the land of milk and honey. I said, it looks like the Joad family, right? It hit my mind. It looks like the Joad family. Then I said, these little mystical words, they're going to find out that all the gold in California is in a bank in the middle of Beverly Hills in somebody else's name. You kids may not recognize that, but it bought me a big house with a circle drive and color TV.
Yeah. Larry Gatlin touched that hand.
Larry Gatlin touched his hands. Right, he is famous.
That was like...
He knew Johnny Cash. I freaking love Johnny Cash.
And we freaking love Larry
I
Gatlin.
freaking love Larry Gatlin.
Yeah, the best part is that both of us got to read and both of us got, like, great work.
Well, he like... That was really good.
Yeah, he was like, I want to see what happens next.
Like, how can people not read that? Okay, now I'm gonna ask.